gonna lie, season 2 probably hits different than season 1 to even begin with. Cause you know what? I need to get this out the way, needless to say, of course, before I even, start with the beginning, there's a lot of things going on in season 2. I will admit that. I will say that, needless to say, like in season 1, of course. But here's the thing that it's just my stomach, it's just my head to even begin with, needless to say, right? Season 1, the stepfather, Agma of Lewis, right, basically gets him out of the black market because Lewis's background, he was basically sold to the black market, almost sold to the black market as food to even begin with, and basically his stepfather pulled him out of that, right? Out of that to even begin with, so that way he could live a better life, right? So tell me why that in season 2 he decides to basically go back to that on some revenge type shit, right? Where basically he becomes the Shishigumi boss and trying to, and basically, going back to that lifestyle to even begin with. That's what baffles me, because his father pulled him out of that to even begin with, to a point where now he wants to go back to even begin with, and then it gets to a point where he pretty much pulls the strap on him to even begin with.
You were the chosen one!
Like, what sense does that even make? Like, brother, you were about to be sold as food, and you mean to tell me that you gonna kill your own father right here or there? To which his father responded that you know what, if you kill me, it's pretty much a bad look on you and me. Like, it's a lose little homie. You gotta like chill out with that to even begin with. That's why I got to a point where at the end of the season, he obviously decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go back to my school life after witnessing the fact that one of his like employees in the gang, or one of his gang members was literally about to like devour him in the car, needless to say, which would be Ibuki, so to say, of course. I mean, it is what it is. Your own homies were about to like murk you right then and there. So that was a sign right there where you had to pretty much get out of that too. But in the beginning of pretty much season 1, it does start off with Legoshi pretty much investigating and looking into the case of Tem, of course, where Tem got murdered by a carnivore, of course. And later in the series, Legoshi happens to pretty much figure out that it was pretty much a case that I explained in season 1, where pretty much, carnivore, herbivore gets together, and then carnivore ends up eating the herbivore pretty much. I'm starting to think that in most cases that the herbivore willingly when they get into a relationship with the carnivore, especially a romantic relationship, the herbivore willingly gives in to pretty much the carnivore, and that's what basically happened in that situation, of course. Because tell me why Tem was like, it's okay, I accept you for who you are, and then ends up hugging him, and then ends up accepting his death right then and there. Because if I'm being honest, I would have just ran away, not even gonna cap. I would have been booking it like I was in cross country, so to say, needless to say, or I was running a track practice, because there's no way that I'm about to stand there and pretty much get devoured by you. I value my life more than you, so I'm gonna run away as far away from you as possible to even begin with, needless to say. And by the way, I didn't take any drugs. But boy, was I wrong, because what happened in season 1, the first episode, Tem says, "You're monsters, every one of you," whilst his back was like against the wall, and pretty much right then and there, that's when he gets eaten, that's when he dies. So the scene that we're seeing in season 2, to where basically where pretty much Tem is talking to Riz, saying that he accepts him for who he is, and then gets eaten, that's all in his head. That's all in Riz's head. So therefore, Riz is a psychopath. Like, literally, like, there's something mentally wrong with wrong with him. And I thought, there was something wrong with Tim accepting his death. But no, it was the complete opposite. You know what? I don't even know if I'm even wrong at this point. Comment down below. What is real at this point? What's really, what's not real? Am I crazy or something? Like, I feel like I'm missing something here. But then again, I think I'm right on it. Let me know if I'm talking crazy, because wow. But it's weird because to Riz, it was some sort of romantical thing to him, when literally for Tim it was literally like literally torture that lasted for maybe like 30 seconds or maybe 10 seconds, and then boom, his life was pretty much gone to even begin with. I think Bruce made it quick, because boy, he was eating. I'll tell you what, he was eating. That's for sure. And then basically you had that snake. Snake that pretty much initiated the whole thing. Bringing this to Legoshi's attention, like, yo, you need to solve this in the first place. First of all, who was that snake to even begin with? What purpose did the snake had to serve, other than to just initiate and remind Legoshi of the whole case, the case of Tam, the murder case of Tam to even begin with? And then basically you got the whole thing with Beastars, because I literally had to look up the term that Beastars is somebody who stands out, where they basically unite herbivores and carnivores pretty much despite the difference. That's basically what a Beastar is. And I think Juno is definitely the exact definition of that, of course, because they definitely showed that in that season to where basically they're trying to unite herbivores and carnivores together, because you did have that whole thing to where you had this segregated policy pretty much going on in the whole universe, to where they're trying to separate herbivores and carnivores all together. Like, nope, we can't have you all together because of the common cases that happens between the two, of course. Because, like, okay, if we bring these two people together, they gonna kill each other, which is the discussion that the presidents, or pretty much the whole council, was having in like the very beginning episode 1 or episode 2, I would say, of Beastars season 2, needless to say. And so you had that discussion going on, whether or not to keep herbivores and carnivores together or to separate them for their own safety. It's understandable, but also at the same time, I would bring more of, I would say it would bring more of a divide, which is what Juno was basically feeling, and I could definitely understand that. Basically, that's why she was like she was pissed, actually. She was mad as hell, because it was like, oh hell no, y'all trying to separate herbivores and carnivores, and when I'm trying to bring herbivores and carnivores together, like, what is wrong with you? I love the interaction between Juno and Haru to even begin with. Like, I don't know what else to say. I think there was so much that I could basically go on and talk about. Needless to say, if I'm being honest, I probably cut it like way shorter to even begin with, because I'm trying to get to the final season. And let me tell you something. When I read that Beastars fandom, I read that Agma, after Lewis gets his leg bitten off, that Agma, who is Lewis's stepfather, gives him a prosthetic leg. And you mean to tell me he's the bad parent? What the actual fuck? And you know what? I thought I had issues, needless to say. And don't even get me started. I had my ups and downs, but Jesus, to a point where you had to point the Glock at him? Like, are you serious? Yeah, that's basically about it. That's my review for season 2, and oh my gosh, I want to get into the final season, part 1, to even begin with. I honestly can't wait, talking about season 2, needless to say. But yeah, that whole prosthetic leg though, I'm so dead. You mean to tell me that he's the best stepfather, when literally after you get your leg eaten, your whole half leg eaten, your own stepfather buys you a prosthetic leg and then applies it to you. I bet it's animated. I bet it's in the in one of the episodes. You ain't gotta tell me. And by the way, I just hope that I'm not corny about like this final season, so to say, because I want to make sure that my energy is in it. I want to make sure that I'm hype for this thing. I want to make sure that I'm just fully ready. And so that's basically about it. I'll see you guys for the final season. That's how I'm ending it, needless to say.